Hey everyone, and welcome to the Finally Fall book tag. It's September at last, which means we are finally in the autumnal months. So despite the fact that England is just getting out of a heat wave, I'm going to be doing today the Finally Fall book tag. So let's get into it. Question number 1 is, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. Iron Widow. My god, I love the setting of this book. I love the world building of it, the description of all of the characters and how the world works in terms of the patriarchy. I am loving all of the descriptions of all of the robots and everything else. It is so vivid. I absolutely love it. And let's be honest here, the cover is also very autumnal in its colours as well, which I also wanted to point out. Question number 2 is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. Bitter by Akwaeke Emezi. This one deals with grief. It also deals with revolution. It deals with protesting. It deals with how you can deal with protesting and standing up for what's right, where you fit into these protests, all of this kind of thing. It deals with so many really important topics. It also actually talks about adoption and then child abandonment and all of this kind of thing as well. Everything that in here is so beautifully written, but also so heavy hitting as well. It is absolutely brilliant. It's definitely one where you need to look up the trigger warnings for it though, but it's so brilliantly done, and the audiobook is also gorgeously read. Question number 3 is, fall is back to school season. Share a non-fiction book that has taught you something new. Unfortunately, I haven't read any non-fiction in a while. I really should. I have read a lot of articles and things, but I haven't read any actual books recently. But instead, I am going to point out the Marvel Voices comics instead, because each of these has a lot of essays throughout it by various different writers and also artists, talking about what it meant to see characters like them on the page, on screen, this kind of thing. And I should mention, if you don't know what Marvel Voices is, it is a series of comics which is all about highlighting minority and marginalised authors, artists and also characters. So you have Pride, which is LGBTQI plus characters written by LGBTQI plus artists, and then also writers obviously. Same goes for Legacy, which is black characters and artists and writers, and then you also have Latinx, which is Community, and that one is obviously Latinx characters, artists and writers. And then there's also Identity, which is Asian characters, authors, artists, and then there is also Indigenous, but I have unfortunately forgotten the name of that one entirely. I apologise right now, I'll write it here. But each one of these books has a several sections throughout here in between each story, or in between several stories, which are all about interviewing and essays from people of this minority identity, and it is really interesting to read. You can learn a lot from this, whether it be about different people's experiences throughout their lives, to how the industry works, all of the impact of seeing these characters who look like you and sound like you and have the same experiences as you, and things like this from a young age are really important, and things like this. And I would definitely recommend them, even if you're not a Marvel fan, just reading these anyway, because you can learn a hell of a lot from them, and they are all really interesting. Question number 4 is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with people that you love. Name a fictional family or household or friend group that you'd like to be a part of. Pages and Co. I would love to be a part of Tilly's friendship group or her family, because one, the power to read people out of books and to go into books just sounds absolutely incredible. I would love that power. I would spend so much time talking to my favourites, it's unbelievable. But also just the fact that they all love books and they love the power of books and the written word and everything else. We could get along like a house on fire. Question number 5 is, the colourful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of full coloured books. And I'm going to say this stuff here, because I feel like the Broken Earth trilogy and the Blood Trials with the greeny blues and the purples and things, that feels quite autumnal, or at least Halloweeny with the purple and things, and I just think that works. Question number 6 is, fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein someone is telling a story. The Skullduggery Pleasant Grimoire is telling a well, it's telling multiple stories actually. It's telling the story of the past 14 books before you get to until the end, but it's also telling the story of an elder god as well and what is happening to the archivists who are writing this story. So it's kind of like a story within a story within a story kind of thing, and I love that. I also love the fact that it's got multiple formats in here. So there's bits in here that look like this. It's supposed to be like reports. There's also like a comic in here as well, which I love. Then there's also like interviews as well, so that's them telling the story as well. There's a whole load of storytelling within this book, so I had to mention it. Question number 7 is The Nights Are Getting Darker. Share a dark and creepy read. The Death of Jane Lawrence is one of the creepiest things I've ever read. It was my first ever like gothic book ever, and it was creepy and very dark in a lot of places. We are dealing a lot with like surgical scenes and death and gore and hauntings and ghosts and grief and this kind of thing. There's a lot going on in here, and it was definitely dark and it was definitely creepy and definitely perfect for Halloween. If you're looking for a gothic book for Halloween, read The Death of Jane Lawrence without doubt. Question number 8 is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. If you're a Marvel fan, it's Jeff. This is the cutest thing I've ever read, and that is saying something. It is adorable. This is all about a genetically engineered land shark who can now walk on land, and his adventures in the Marvel Universe. He ends up going swimming, and he ends up like dressing up for Halloween. He ends up going to like a pet store, rescuing a bunch of pets from the pet store. He ends up like just doing a whole load of other really random things and really cute things. He dresses up as a superhero at one point. All the rest of it, it's absolutely adorable, and it just made me so happy to read. And each one it takes about a minute to read, so it's a really quick, short, heartwarming read each time, and it's just adorable. Or if you're not a Marvel fan, check out Heartstopper, because again, it is really cute, really sweet, really funny, just makes you feel like you've been hugged, and it's kind of autumnal as well with all of the leaves and all the rest of it throughout the story, and it is just gorgeous. And finally, question number 9 is fall returns every year. Name an old favourite that you'd like to return to soon. Six of Crows. I mention this constantly, but I really want to reread this. I haven't done it yet because my TBR is long enough as it is, but I would love to reread this series soon. I love it so much, and I miss my crows so badly. I really want to reread it. And that is the end of the finally full book tag. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me if it started turning autumnal where you are. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a leaf emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, as well as a link down below as well to my Etsy store that has started getting some more spooky stuff in if you are interested in that. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!